I'm seeing a lot of hate about influencers or just people in general that live in a trailer. And I don't understand that, okay? My mom was a single mother. We lived from apartment to apartment. We lived in a townhome. It wasn't until I was about 14 or 15 that we actually lived in a house, okay? My dad did start a roofing company when I was very young, but it did not take off until I was older. But I also lived in a split household. So I lived with my mom majority of the time. I saw my dad every other weekend. My mom made shit happen for herself. She did not expect my dad to pave the way for her. So there's also this thing that everybody thinks that I grew up in money, which was the farthest thing from the truth. People start making fun of where other people live. It really pisses me the fuck off. I don't think that a lot of people understand what it takes to have things in this life, especially today, okay? When I first got out of prison, I was a single mom living in my mom and my stepdad's basement, okay? I wasn't doing social media. I had just got out of prison. I took a break off social media to get my life together. I was in addiction. So I was working with my mom at her flooring company that she's been working at for years, and I wasn't even making $2,000 a month, okay? I was working there. I was also doing TikToks, and then my stuff started popping off. I started making a little bit of money on brand deals, a couple $100s here. So stuff really started to look up. And so I finally moved out of my parents' basement. I got a 1-bedroom apartment. It was like $1,063 or something like that. That is what I could afford at that time. And then me and Gavin eventually moved to a 2-bedroom apartment when Prince was on the way, then a 3-bedroom apartment. Shit started getting really bad at the apartment complex we were in. People were breaking into our cars, stealing shit, trying to steal packages. They knew I was on social media. Like, it was a whole shit show, right? So then we found this house for rent. But the thing was is that we had a record. So guess what? We had to put 6 months worth of rent down before we could even move in, because they were like, oh, you have a record? Absolutely not. So I was like, okay, well, what if we put 6 months rent down? Now, if it wasn't for having 2 incomes and social media and the work that I had coming in, there was no way that we would have been able to do that. So obviously, like, I know that that is a huge blessing, right? So we lived there for a while. The rent was like $2,300. And then eventually we were like, okay, like, it's time to start looking for houses. And this was our goal, was to be looking for houses while we were renting, right? But we needed to be in a place financially to be able to do that. We started looking for houses in Georgia, all around Georgia, could not find anything big enough for the right price, all the things. So then we started looking in Florida, right? But you got to be very mindful of where you're looking in Florida, because things can be really, really high here. So we live in like the country part of Florida. So the house that we got was actually a lot cheaper than anywhere else that we could find for what we needed at the time, because we also had a family member living with us. So the point of me telling y'all this story is that we were in a crunch, right? We needed to get a house. We got this house and our mortgage is $5,100. You heard that right. Obviously very grateful that we could and can afford that. But now that we've been here for 2+ years, we thought that we would have been able to refinance by now, get our interest rate down, get our mortgage payment down, all the things. And so guess what we're looking to do now? Sell the house, get a camper or trailer, and then build on a big piece of property, because interest rates are not where we need them to be. Mortgage payment won't go down by a whole lot. This is going to save us a shit ton of money so that we don't have to have a fucking mortgage, because it is outrageous. Anybody that's saying anything about where people live, holy shit, it's raining. You're a loser and you have no idea what it takes to fucking live. At the end of the day, I would much rather have a much cheaper mortgage with way more land, a little bit more money in the bank. The list goes on, okay? So sometimes you see people living in these bigger, nicer houses, but you don't know what the fuck they're paying. They're getting their block knocked off every month. There's people that live in trailers, they have way more money than the people judging, because the people judging are in credit card debt. People living in trailers are living their best life, having way more financial freedom. So people need to stop being so judgmental. When the fuck did we get here where we're judging people for having a place to live? They have a place to live.